We're reacting to how Voidzilla, Coffeezilla, on his Voidzilla channel got scammed for $1,000. Let's go.
I got scammed for $1,000,000, and here's my story. You may have seen the video on my main channel where I talk about how we should have been covered up to $1,000,000 for this lawsuit against Logan Paul because we have what's called media insurance or errors and omissions insurance. The reason I got this, the reason most media companies
So it was actually about what I thought it was like. I haven't seen this before. I was assuming that's what this was about.
get this is because of defamation lawsuits, especially if you're going to do original reporting on very rich people and accuse them of things like scamming. You know, people don't take too kindly to that. And many times they will threaten to
I will take a shot every time Coffeezilla mentions Logan Paul, okay?
frivolously sue you. Sometimes they even will sue you, and you have to be prepared to defend yourself. It's very expensive, and so you want some way to do that. So you can get insured for that. You can get insured for defamation. And we've actually used the same type of defamation insurance or errors and omissions insurance to cover ourselves before and successfully done that. This time we thought it would be no different. So when we got sued, I saw a lot of great support from people saying, look, I want to help. I want to help you, kind of like, you should do a GoFundMe.
Exactly. We learned that Coffeezilla got sued a while back, and there was a little bit of a radio silence among it, but yeah, it was known that Logan Paul sued Coffeezilla for way longer than the video yesterday when he actually announced it to everyone. It was, it maybe have went by 1 or 2 months ago, although in internet terms that's like a year, right? But hey, there we go.
Me or whatever. And I said to myself, well, look, I don't want to do that because I don't need it. And many commenters knew that I had insurance and they said, hey, he doesn't need it. Don't worry. He's got this errors and omissions insurance.
That's what I
was
thought.
Yeah, you're right. That's true. Except then I called my insurance company to put in a claim. I'm like, yo, knock, knock. We've been paying you thousands of dollars a year.
Screw you, Zilla.
Why not? Time for you to pay up. And they promptly called back. They're like, actually, no, we're not going to do that because in the fine print of our policy, your new policy.
Hold on. Prediction. In the fine print of the policy, it says that any drama that was going on before the insurance does not count. So him having had any beef with Logan Paul before the time of writing, it falls under that same session and thus is not covered. But hey, there you go.
We've excluded ourselves from defamation claims.
Wait.
So
I may have...
Because in the fine print of our policy, your new policy, we've excluded ourselves from defamation claims.
Wasn't that the whole point of the insurance? The anti-defamation insurance? That's a good one, Droopy. I might have to react to my reaction someday.
So I was confused. I was like, wait, but the whole reason I got this was defamation.
Exactly.
And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, well, what does this cover if not defamation? They're like, well, errors and omissions. And I'm thinking, what do you call errors and omissions in media? You call it defamation. I mean,
Exactly. What?
If CNN goes on and they make an error about some random person, that person's not going to sue them for the error. They're going to sue them for defamation. So I was confused. I was like wildly confused. I go to my policy.
You should go to Logan Paul and ask him real nicely if instead of suing him for defamation, he could sue him for errors and omission. That would be really great. Thank you, Logan Paul. Hey, I helped you in the past. You said thank you. You think I'm a good guy. Can you sue me for that instead, please? Pretty please.
See, I'm like shocked to find, yeah, okay, sure enough. Yep, you guys are excluded from defamation. And I'm like, how did this happen? So that requires the full story. So that's the TLDR. Scammed for $1,000,000. If they had paid out the whole claim, right? Like that's obviously a big part of this.
It's a little hyperbolic. He's not entirely scammed. It is a legitimate company that does the insurance, but they are just very scummy. So a light scam. Basically, basically scamming someone with the fine print. But
Uh,
hey,
Ultimately, we paid like, I think during the lifetime of this insurance, we probably paid like a few tens of thousands of dollars to this insurance. So it hasn't been cheap to pay for insurance that ultimately did nothing. So we at minimum got scammed for that amount. If you actually look at the total
that's true.
policy we had, it was up to $1 million. So I don't think it's a stretch to say we got scammed for $1 million. But the full story, I think, is even more interesting. So initially, we had gotten a message from another YouTuber who had just been in a lawsuit. This is how we started getting into this whole thing. And they told us, look, dude, I just paid $250,000. We were small at this time. He goes, I just got paid $250,000 to fight this lawsuit. I'm in the right. It's totally frivolous. This guy knows it. You need to make sure you get this thing called errors and omissions insurance so you can be protected like I wasn't. So we were a small channel. And
So we got it recommended by someone. That's interesting. Hey, Danchi, what's up? Welcome.
relatively, the insurance was going to be very expensive for us. But I appreciated that, and I thought, that's really wise. If this channel continues in a certain direction, in the type of content that I want to produce, we need to have this. So we found a broker who kind of advertised himself as like, look, every YouTuber needs defamation insurance. If they're going to be publicly talking about news, about like different topics. So you get a hold of this guy, and we say, hey, we want that. So he goes, great. So he shops us around some insurance. And we pretty immediately find some carriers who are willing to take us because at the time our channel is much smaller. And I would just say it's like less risky, so to speak, because the smaller you are, the less people are going to see it.
A great point he's bringing up because, um, I mean, I wouldn't want to be the insurance policy broker that would have to take Coffeezilla under my wing. Okay, I understand that's like an odd thing to say for someone who is an advocate for Coffeezilla, but if I was a insurance policy broker, having big names like Coffeezilla who exposes scams to like even larger people than him, is very risky. So I kind of understand, but it's really scummy. Yeah, that's really scummy. And as you said, little Pinkrin, it's more like reinsurance. Like he thought he was protected, so he said the things he said. But there we go. And the stupidest thing is he didn't even defame Logan Paul. He brought only the facts. So it's bullshit too.
It's just not as big of a risk. So we get covered. And in 2019 or 2020, we get a cease and desist letter from Dan Locke. Okay. I'm just trying to remember the year. I'm not so clear about the years, but I just remember we got a cease and desist from
I
Dan
read
Locke. It was one of our
defamatory
first.
there.
And the guy showed up at our house, really freaked us out. He's like, hey, are you blah, blah, blah? I'm like, yes. He's like, oh, not you've been served, but like here, this is.
It's true. Insurance companies of whatever kind, their main goal is to not pay out. Even though that's their sole purpose for existence, their model of getting revenue is not paying out. So it's always weird how that kind of works against each other. But hey, this is the world. We truly live in a society.
Aha, we got you. So I'm reading this cease and desist letter. It's very like angry. Lawyers use that language like you have to respond. Like da. We're gonna take very heavy legal action against
Spank you.
So we were freaked out. So I called my insurance and I was like, ring ring. Hey, we're getting a cease and desist for defamation.
Honestly, if I were working for a insurance company and it's my job to find reasons not to pay out, I would feel the exact same as if I was like an Indian scammer or something. Like, not an Indian, a scammer as well, but you know what I mean. Do not redeem, right?
And can you help? They're like, yep, we cover that. That's the whole point of the stuff. That's why you got it. So we're going to get you a lawyer. So we got a lawyer. We fought the cease and desist. It ultimately turned into nothing. In fact, most cease and desist letters turn into nothing. But
Logan Paul.
we were relieved. We were like, okay, great. This stuff works. I'm very glad we have it. So we go the next year, and it gets more expensive, significantly more expensive, this type of insurance, because
You grew.
As you use it, they're like, well, you're a risk now. Now that you've used the thing you paid for,
Yeah.
we have to charge you a lot more for it. It's maybe like getting into an accident with like car insurance.
Yeah, it's like your no claim bonus. So I had an insurance for my car. I haven't gotten into an accident for already like 10 years, and thus my monthly bill gets cheaper every year. I get a little bit of a little bonus every year that I don't make any problems for them, because that's just 100% profit for them, and it encourages me to not claim anything, because as soon as I claim anything, it will jump up my monthly rate. It's an encouraging practice for them. I understand.
But what I find a little unfair about this is we did nothing wrong. Like we didn't do anything. In fact, our claims, I think, were fair, and I don't think they were defamatory at all. But either way, the price goes up. We're happy to pay. We're like, sure, we don't care. As the years go, our channel starts getting bigger, and the channel, from an insurer's point of view, gets more risky, right? They're like,
There you
you're
go.
bigger, you get more views.
That's what I said.
Therefore, more eyeballs see it. You need to pay more money. Always happy to do that. Fine, whatever. At one point,
Technically, you should say it's worth it, right? Because then someone like Logan Paul sues you for defamation, and because you paid a little more up front, then they're more than happy to help you out again, because the deal of doing business.
insurance company we had been using says, okay, you know what? We actually don't want to do this anymore. For whatever reason, you're not being renewed this year. So we go to our insurance broker and we're like, okay, what do we do? He's like, well, I can shop you around a bunch more policies. What do you want? And we're like, well, we just want similar coverage. He goes, great. So he goes around. They work with a bunch.
Similar coverages. Well, there you go. You got scammed. It's similar enough. It only does not cover the thing you need, but the rest is the same.
Bunch of people, and they're like looking for a while. We can start getting nervous. We start getting close to the deadline of when we have to renew, and because it's kind of a big deal. You don't want to lapse your coverage because then you say something is not covered, whatever. So finally, we're getting down to the wire. He's like, look,
He is an
I do
innocent
have this
person.
one insurance company we can go to. I don't know. They're kind of like, we can go to them. So we're like, yeah, dude, well, anything. Finally, he comes back. He goes, great news. They're going to do it. And we're like, oh, awesome. Is it more expensive? He's like, yeah, it's like 40% more expensive. We're like, we don't care. That's fine. We'll pay it. So he goes, great. Sign this, whatever. And
40% seems like a lot.
and we're like, great. Little did I know, these guys had put a special exclusion, two exclusions actually that are relevant. The biggest one in this policy was on page like 31, and it said, we are excluded from covering. It's all these things they won't cover. They're like, we won't cover defamation. Now, that's the only reason we're buying the insurance. But we don't see it. Now,
He didn't read it.
there's a lot of like, whose fault
At least didn't see it.
Is this the fault of the underwriter for not flagging it? Is it the fault of our broker for not telling us because he's the expert?
It's a good point he's bringing up. Every deviation from the norm should at least be like written down somewhere. So as he said, it should have been flagged from the start, right? Any deviation.
Is it our fault for not reading the whole all 50-something pages of the contract? We're not insurance experts, but should we have read it? Should we have hired a lawyer, right? I'm not going to get into all of that in this video. The point is, there is this there's this exception in the fine print that we never hear about. And there's also an exception from what they call like digital assets. Like it's like they're excluded from covering it if it's about digital assets. Now, if you've seen my content, all the
As in crypto scams?
videos are, well, not all of them, but a lot of videos are about some type of digital asset. So it's like they wrote a policy, charged us 40% more, and then
It's like they were fans of the channel. They watched all of his stuff and they're like, okay, we're gonna put it exactly like this. They also don't cover any people who have fought in the WWE. They also don't cover any previous bank owners. Okay, no major banking individuals. Okay, also don't cover those. There you go.
every single part of the policy is like just drawing a box where it's like, we won't cover anything that this channel talks about.
That's kind of
anyway,
sad.
I mean, I guess that's good business for them if they can get people to like sign it. And it was sent to us like by our broker. They're like, yeah, this is the only guy that'll cover you. Here's the only thing you can get. And we're like, okay, great. So we pay for this for like 2 or 3 years. I forgot the exact. I have to pull up the exact emails of like when we first signed with these guys, but we pay like tens of thousands of dollars for this insurance that does not cover us. So now the whole Logan Paul stuff happens. We call our broker. They say, no. Or, call our broker. They file with the insurance company. The insurance company says, no, we're not going to do that. The broker starts freaking out. It's the first time they've heard of this. They had no idea. This is all in writing too. Like, it's actually crazy what they put in writing. They're like, yeah, we had no idea that this was part of the thing. We didn't know. So
I assume so, because it was their idea, right? I assume they didn't also scam him. It was outside of their field of vision as well.
Yeah, that's the full story of what happened. I mean, it's kind of tough because by the letter of the policy, it's kind of like, did the insurer do anything? I mean, they just offered us a deal and we took it. So it's more like, okay, well, the broker, anyway, we're talking to like people because we're like, dude, how can we pay tens of thousands of dollars for insurance that doesn't insure?
It's kind of the broker. Hey, stop pointing at me, Coffeezilla. It's kind of like, yeah, the broker who was supposed to be the middleman here, he fucked up. He fucked up because you cannot expect the one needing the insurance to be an expert at insurance policy. Like the person, like Coffeezilla wouldn't even potentially be equipped to understand such a document, which is why the man in the middle is there to mediate that, right? And when the wishes are to have something similar, then you don't mean anything except what I do. So in this case, I do think the broker, like the middleman broker, I think that's what it means. He fucked up. I don't know what he can do about that legally. Yeah, but let's keep watching.
The thing we paid a broker to find us. It's like paying a broker to find you car insurance, and then they like sell you like car insurance that excludes any type of accident that includes something with 4 wheels. Like that's literally what this is like.
Exactly.
But now we're in this crazy position where we're having to like talk to lawyers about if we need to like lawyer up versus the insurance company that's supposed to be paying for our lawyers in the other case. Like, it's so stupid. We're now having to be like, wait, no, I think you scammed us. Also to the broker, like, we're in this ridiculous situation where we should have had insurance to protect us if our insurance didn't pay up, because now we got to talk to all these other lawyers too. Yeah.
Insurance. There you go. This is the new meta, everyone. Get your insurance, because they're out there to scam you. And while you're at it, you better get insurance for that too.
It's so frustrating. And by the way, not only are we now having to look at all our options for what to do about all this, I have to read you this, dude. The broker not only admitted he didn't know what was in the policy, he put in writing that the underwriter didn't know what was in the policy. So he says the quote and...
You know, he's almost doing this off the cuff. He called us dude. But okay, let's carry on.
Email from blank never mentioned that this exclusion was being removed. It's not common for agencies or underwriters to read through every line and exclusion of every policy we receive. So while we could have checked the policy to see that defamation was excluded, some fault lies with the carrier for not disclosing this to us when it was quoted. What? So they're just pointing fingers at each other, but the person actually affected is us. So,
this is sad.
And then they also say they not only didn't know what was in my policy, they have apparently may have sold this policy to other people. In another email, they say, it looks like it's going to have to go up the ladder at the insurance company to find out why this wasn't disclosed to us earlier. that this exclusion was in there. I've been told by the underwriter that this has his full attention. I think he might be really concerned because they have a few other accounts with this insurance company. And if this exclusion is on all of them, then it's going to represent a larger problem for their business. So this may have been sent to tons of people who think that defamation.
This is going to be the next Coffeezilla project, everyone. It's his next big thing, you know? If you're an insurance company and you scam Coffeezilla, just make sure that you know what you're up against, okay?
Is excluded for them as well, and it like actually isn't. I just think this is so crazy to me that we're in this situation, but you know,
imagine the insurance company suing Coffeezilla for defamation and then not having to cover the defamation suit because of their own clause in their own contract. Now we're reaching real meta levels of insurance.
We are. And ultimately, now we're selling shirts. I mean, that's how we got here. That's how we got to selling this very cool.
Now we have to sell out, everyone.
Nice shirt that you should definitely buy. Because
I used to like Coffeezilla. Good shirt.
I need to sell to make up for this, but it's a lot. Okay, so if you could help out, that would be very appreciated. Pre-order is for 14 days, I believe. We got this shirt. We got a lot more. You can go check it out on the website, coffeezilla.store. But either way, that is the story of how I got scammed. Yes, me, Coffeezilla, got scammed for
it's kind of ironic.
We got Dylan Danis. We got fine printed, whatever you want to call it. Tough, man, tough. Let me know if you have a similar story in the comments below, because a lot of people I've talked to actually are like, yeah, I've had the same experience with insurance. Not media insurance, but they're like, yeah, I had paid for insurance that ultimately, I guess that's their job, is to not pay. Like they don't.
That's what I said.
Money from paying out $1 million on a policy that they maybe got paid like $30K for. So they make money from not paying out.
It doesn't math.
So I'm interested if you guys have stories below of times where you had something similar happen in your life. I want to know about it. Either way,
he's making a story.
You can appreciate a little.
He's asking for input. He's making a story.
Pain at my expense. I'm laughing because I've had a little bit of time to process this. It's almost been a full month now, so sitting with this. Oh, actually, a little over a month. So I can appreciate the irony of the situation. But when it first happened, let me tell you, I was not happy. I was sending some very angry emails. I was like, Rrr. And yeah, that's basically it. Don't forget, go get yourself a shirt. You know,
that's my shirt. That's the one I. That's the one I got.
I really got to sell shirts now.
All right. This is now Selloutzilla. Selloutzilla, everyone. He really fell off. You know what his insurance is right here? 390K subscribe. Actually, he's got like millions of